Hello everyone, I'm Aurélie Baker. I'm working at Aerospace Valley, and today I will introduce this webinar about source of funding for space-related startups. So we are running in the frame of Astropreneur program a series of webinar, and today we will have two interventions. Okay, so oh, sorry. In the part, Carla Duarte from IPN will give you more information about Astropreneur program. And after that, Fabienne Daveran will give you information about the EIC Accelerator program. So, Carla, please.
Hello, Aurélie. Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending our webinar. So I will start by introducing you the Astropreneurs program and explain you all about it and how can you apply to our space accelerator. Just to let you know before that Astropreneurs, the main objective of our project is to turn space-related ideas into viable business and promote opportunities for entrepreneurs that came from space and from non-space sectors. The project has been running since the beginning of 2018. It was expected to end in the end of June this year, but hopefully we are going to extend it until the end of December in 2020. So our partnership and the organizations that compose the partnership are spread across Europe. We are in Portugal. We are from Instituto Pedro Nunes, and we are the coordinators of the project. In Spain, we have KIM, the organization that today is hosting this webinar. Then in France, we have Aerospace Valley. We also have STFC in the UK. We have HART in Belgium, CESA in Germany, Brimatech in Austria, and Czech Invest in the Czech Republic. All these members of this consortium are also belong to ESA as BICS brokers on our ambassadors platform. So we all are connected to the space sector. Astropreneurs, what is our vision to work and implement the project? So we start with the entrepreneurs, the startups, the SMEs, and we give them mentoring on business, on technology, on funding, and also support them with a network. And hopefully, after the process, they go on with us. They will be more viable cases and will enter the commercial phase more rapidly and with less barriers. What are the main actions of our project? As you probably know, we have the Astropreneurs Space Startup Accelerator, where we are going to mentor 150 startups with an average of 50 hours of mentoring, and the mentoring can be according to their needs. So it's a tailored mentoring according to pre-identified needs on business, on technical and funding areas. Also, we have to highlight this Space Economy Astropreneurs Network that becomes something very important, and I will talk it a little bit later on this webinar. So the network is a way to connect the stakeholders of the space industry, all the main actors that are involved and that need to be connected to facilitate the networking and the relation between the entrepreneurs and the organizations on the sector. The mentoring program is organized. Well, we started to think that 3 months were enough to mentor the startups, but actually each startup can implement the mentoring program during 6 months. As I told you, our objective is to have 150 startups on board and more than 500 entrepreneurs, and at least 100 mentors. I can tell you that we are almost reaching the KPI of the 150 startups and the 500 entrepreneurs, and we have already overcome the 100 KPI for the mentors. We are on our pool of mentors. We have more than 150 mentors and experts from business, technical, and funding areas from all over Europe. Just to let you know how did we organize to ourselves to select the startups. So we have an open call. Since we are just on the end of the project implementation, we have already had 6 cutoff dates. The last one was in February, but since we have some places available on the to join our accelerator, we defined another cutoff date. So if anyone is interested, there is a final opportunity, and on the 27th May 2020, so this 27th May, you can still apply to get the final seats on board of our Space Startup Accelerator. Just to give you an overview about the 136 startups that are already on board, I can tell you that they are coming from lots of countries in the European Union. So they are not, they are located since France, Portugal, UK, Germany. So from to Estonia, to Hungary, Slovakia, Greece, Italy, Poland. So we have more than 20 countries, startups coming from more than 20 countries in the EU. And I can tell you that also the mentors are coming from many countries from EU also. Just to give you an overview about the space sectors, most of the startups are creating applications on downstream, but we also have 24% of them that are working on upstream, so which is also very relevant. And another thing that they are, what are they developing? 66% are developing software and 34% hardware products. Okay, so this is to give you an overview of the business ideas that our startups are implementing. If you are still interested in applying to our Space Startup Accelerator, what can you do? So you go to our website, to Astropreneurs website, and you go to the mentoring area. You get here all the information about the call for startups. If you want to apply, you just click on the apply on F6S, and you are linked to our application form. But what I would suggest you to do is to, before read the more information document. Is a PDF with all the information about the process of application and selection. You can also get in touch and know who are our mentors. We have all the mentors there. You can see who they are. And also the startups that have already been selected, they are also in the website. Another detailed information regarding how to apply. Just to clarify, applicants can be startups, and for that we mean entrepreneurs in idea phase or a registered SME located in a EU member state or H2020 eligible country and with a space-related business idea. You don't need to have your connection to the space already completely identified, but you have to have a clear intention that you will use a space technology. Okay. Applicants will be assessed according to the answers they give to these questions that we present in the application form, and the questions are very simple, and you have all the information regarding what we expect you to tell on the form. If you read the document that I told you about the guidance to applicants. So we will say access what is your business idea, what is the space connection of your business idea, why do you want to be an astropreneur, and how will you use the astropreneur support. you have to score at least 60 points. You cannot have a 0 in any question, and if you get below 40, you are excluded. But okay, it's very simple, and if you follow up the guidance that you give us, it's not difficult to have a good application form. Nevertheless, there is a tender evaluation board from the partnership that evaluates all the applications, and they are the ones that decide regarding the classification that you get. So the last call, as I told you, and I recall, is on the 27th May, and results will be notified to each applicant until the 12th June. This way, you still have the last batch of selected startups will still have the 6 months to implement the mentoring program until the end of December this year. We just have 15 places free. So if you want to get on board of our Space Startup Accelerator, well, the competition will be high. We have already lots of applications in our pipeline, but we are still wanting the best ones to participate. So please, if you have any doubt, contact us. We can clarify and try to support you all along the process. And we'd like you to be one of the persons to occupy one of these 15 places free. You also can continue getting in touch with us with our webinars. The next webinar will be organized by the STFC on space technology for agriculture on the 19th May. So I will then put the links on the chat, and they will all available in our social media. So you can get information and register, as this one is free, and you will have the opportunity to understand a little bit about how can space benefit agriculture, what are the things that are going on this sector, and this is a very good opportunity also. I would just, before finish, I would also just want to tell you all about the European Space Network that we are creating. So, as I told you in the beginning, in our vision about the project, one of the main actions is the network. And what we have done, we have mapped all the space organizations and startups and mentors and everything related with the space sector. And we had a huge database that we are now putting at disposal of the space sector, or the persons that are interested in joining the space sector. So the European Space Network is an online platform where you can reach all the space organization easily, and you can also try to make a matchmaking with the space industry. We are building this platform from the scratch, so we need your opinion, and we would like to have some of your recommendations and what can we do better in this platform. So I would like you to try our platform, which is in a very prototype version, but in order to increase it and improve it, we'd like to have your opinion. I will share also all the links in the chat after. Please try please try this network, the website, the facilities that are here, and then if you be so kind, give us your opinion. There are 2 ongoing questionnaires so that you can give us your opinion, and this way we will improve the network, and the network will reach your objectives, which is ultimately its own goal, to support you in connecting with the space sector. So there are 2 questionnaires that you can fulfill, one for space companies and another for non-space companies. And your opinion is really valuable for us. And for me, that's it. I hope to see you all in other events or on board of our Space Startup Accelerator. Astropreneurs is active on several social media, so you can all get in touch with us and contact with us and get in touch what we are doing in our social media, in our website, and also using our email, you can reach us directly. So thank you so much for listening. And if you have any question or any doubt, I'll be here and I can answer all of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Carla. I think we'll keep the question for the end of the webinar, and we will go to the presentation of Fabienne. Fabienne? Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, hi everyone. I'm just opening my camera just to let you know who I am for 5 seconds, just to save a good connection for everyone. So, my name is Fabienne Daveran. I'm working with Aurélie Baker in Aerospace Valley Cluster. And as already said by Carla, we are a member of the Astropreneur project, and I'm very pleased to introduce you today with the EIC Accelerator, which is a type of funding delivered by the European Commission. So in Aerospace Valley, I'm in charge of European affairs, but I'm also part of the French NCP for transport. So just to let you know, NCP are national contact points. So there are NCP everywhere in Europe and even abroad. And we are in charge of delivering information about European fundings. For me, I'm doing more with transport activities, but we are also part of the French NCP for space. Now I'm cutting my camera. Okay, so trying to move my slides. Oops, seems it doesn't work. I'm clicking, but nothing appears. Oh, here it goes. Okay, it's okay. It's because I think the connection, I have to be careful, not moving too rapidly. Just to start with, I want to recall some words about the European definition of an SME, because if you want to apply to the EIC Accelerator, you need to comply with this SME definition, which is corresponding to a European recommendation, a very official one from the European Commission. So to be an SME, there are 2 main criteria. One is dealing with the number of employees. You have to be less than 250 employees in your entity. And the second criteria is about finance. So you have to comply either on turnover criteria, which has to be less than 50 million euros, or annual balance sheet, which has to be less than 43. And also the criteria which appears here is a question of autonomy. Yes, you do not have to be held by another entity which is not an SME if it helps you at over 25%, then you can lose your status of SME, and also you cannot hold yourself a non-SME entity over 25%. Okay, so I think all the attendees here comply with this SME definition, but it's good to recall. Okay, so the EIC Accelerator is part, in fact, of the HORTZON 2020 framework program. So I will go rapidly on this HORTZON 2020 program. It is a big framework program for research and innovation developed by the European Commission. So as the name said, it will will end this year. It started in 2014, and it will end by the end of this year. And it was it had a budget of 77 billion euros. It was structured around three main pillars. One dealing with excellent science. There you can find all calls related to fundamental research, exchange of researchers, for example. And then a second pillar called industrial leadership, where you will find several technologies, and space is included in this second pillar. And then a third pillar dealing with societal challenges. And there you can find several thematic programs like health, agriculture, transport, energy, etc. So as I said, this program will last this year, but it will be replaced by a new one called HORTZON Europe. So this framework program will be the next program for the period of 2021 up to 2027. From now, we do not know the budget because it's still under discussion at the European Commission. Anyway, we have an idea on how it will be structured. Nothing really different, but some differences anyway. So first pillar dealing still with excellent science and fundamental research. Second pillar, a bit different than the previous one, but we will have all the programs dealing with global challenges and European industrial competitiveness. So it's not really different from the previous one, but we are there talking about clusters, and space will be included in one cluster that will also contain digital activities and industry. And then on the third pillar, you will have the Innovative Europe, and the European Innovation Council will be in there. And the EIC Accelerator will be in this EIC program. So the EIC is something new that has appeared by the end of H 2020. So who is concerned by the EIC? Startups and SME. It's really a program done for startups and SMEs, which are very highly technological, which had disruptive innovation, and which want to reach an international trade market. So this EIC program has been tailored to help funding company scale-up process. So as I said, it is let's say hosted in H 2020 as a pilot, but it will become a full program in HORTZON Europe Future Framework Program. In fact, this EIC pilot is based on already existing funding instrument. Maybe some of you have heard about the SME instruments or the FETs, the Future Emerging Technologies, and these were the base, in fact, of the EIC pilot. In fact, the EIC pilot is made of two main instruments. One is the EIC Pathfinder, dealing with a very low TRL project, very fundamental research project going from TRL 1 to TRL 6. And then the accelerator, which is the aim of the webinar today, more for higher TRL project from TRL 6 to TRL 9. I put here the TRL scale for those of you who are not familiar with TRL. So in fact, it's a scale to measure the maturity of research project going from TRL 1, very basic. TRL 3 corresponds to the proof of concept. TRL 6 is more for the demonstrator, and TRL 9 is the end of the scale when the innovation is ready to go to the market. This scale has been invented by the NASA, so it's really a space applied scale. About the EIC pilot, there is a governance, the EIC advisory board made of experts coming from all over Europe, and the budget for H 2020 is about over 2 billion euros. So here I put a slide coming directly from the European Commission saying what we are looking for, what we intend to fund through this EIC Accelerator Pilot. So individual SMEs with very high risk and high growth potential, two very important elements, risk and growth. Having groundbreaking concepts at the last stage before scale up. This is not for upstream research. This is for very mature technologies, and having the aim to display very radical and market creating innovation. So it has been put in place in September last year, and it was the end of the SME Instrument and launching of the EIC Accelerator Pilot. So to recall the main characteristic of this instrument, it's open to for-profit SMEs and startups only. No, the other entities cannot benefit directly. They can be subcontractors, but they cannot be direct beneficiary. From all over Europe, from the European Union, but also it's open to associated countries because maybe you don't know, but some countries, non-European countries, are contributing to the European Framework Program, and there they can benefit from fundings from this program. It's the case of Israel, for example, but also for Switzerland, Norway. These are, but some others also are on the list. The EIC Accelerator is open to any sector. There is no setup topics. This is what we call a bottom-up approach. You can propose your subject. There is no definition of open topics. It's only for single applicants project. You may be alone. It's not a collaborative project. Projects may last from 12 to 24 months in general. Can be different, but this is the I would say average duration of EIC project, and it is quite something new when compared to the SM Instrument. There are several funding models, and you have to choose the funding model you want to apply. So three possibilities. Either you apply for a grant only, and there you can ask for a grant going from 0.5 million euros up to 2.5 million euros. Second possibility is a grant with consent. That means that you want a grant, but you are open to a blended finance. And the third one is really, you want to apply for blended finance. That means grant plus equity. This is really brand new in the instrument, and equity can be asked up to a maximum of 15 million euros. About UK applicants, due to Brexit issue, they are only eligible to grants only option. No possibility of blended finance for UK partners, unfortunately. So here again, a slide from the European Commission explaining a little bit more of the three funding possibilities. So grant only is for early stage project, early stage for development. So it may cover activities from TRL 6 to TRL 8 only. And this grant is really funding going from 0.5 to up to 2.5 million euros. And the funding rate is 70% of the total cost. So you have to self-fund 30% of the project. Second possibility is grant with consent. And there it corresponds to the grant as the previous one. Okay, same conditions. But applying for grant with consent means that if the proposal includes activities of TRL 9 and you give your consent, then the funding can be changed into blinded finance. That means that you let the final decision to the European Commission experts, and you are not you are open to have blended finance in your project. And the third one is blended finance for early stage and scale-up projects. So this deals from activities tier 6 and above. But for activities up to tier 8, you will be on grant. But if you have activities higher than tier 8, then it will be equity with a maximum of 15 million euros. There is a flexibility also afterwards. If you obtain a grant, for example, and then when implementing the project, you think you'd better open it to equity, then you can change the model. When and how to apply. It has several cutoff dates per year. This is the way it was working for SME Instrument, but it's still going on for EIC Accelerator. So for 2020, the dates were 8th of January, 24th of March, and the next one will be 7th of October. There will be on May 19 an additional cutoff dealing with Green Deal issues. So Green Deal is a new program set up by European Commission. It's not a program, I'll say it's a call. There will be a call, a Green Deal call, and it was something wished by the new President of European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. When she arrived at European Commission, she said that environment was really to be considered for Europe, and she wants to Europe to be the first green continent. So she put some money there, and it started with the EIC. And by the beginning of mid-March, they decided to put an additional cutoff date for EIC, but really focused on Green Deal issues. I mean, sustainable development and clean technos. I won't go into detail because the deadline is very close, in 5 days. So it's really too late to propose, unfortunately. But I wanted to introduce this. So for the EIC accelerators, several applications are possible. You can candidate several times, but you can only have one proposal at a time per SME and per cutoff. You cannot have several applications at the same time. To apply, how to apply? First, you have to apply electronically. You have to submit candidacy electronically, following several templates. It's a very standardized process. So you have 2 parts in your proposal. Part A, which is dealing with administrative and financial issues, and it has to be done online on the portal. And then a part B, which is more technical, I would say, and which is composed of several documents to download on the portal. So you have here the list of the documents. You see that the main one is a document, which is really the core of your proposal, the heart of your proposal, and it has to be 30 pages max, with 3 sections, which each section corresponds to criteria of evaluation. I will go on this later on. Then you have several annexes dealing with security, ethics, CVs of persons in the company in charge of a project, other documents, and then another annex dealing with financial and corporate information. And the last one is a pitch deck. Because you will see that the evaluation will be done in 2 times. So evaluation. The evaluation for the EIC Accelerator is a bit different from the SME Instrument also. In fact, you have a submission of a proposal, electronic submission. Then remote evaluation. I will come back later on that. Evaluation done by experts remotely. Then ranking of proposal, and then for proposal which have been ranked, they are invited to interviews in Brussels. And for those who are successful at the end of interviews, they will sign the grant agreement. Between the submission of a proposal and the ranking and the evaluation summary report, it is done very rapidly by the European Commission, only 4 to 5 weeks maximum. So you see it's very rapid process of evaluation, and then 9 weeks up to the signature of a grant. So it is a time to grant, that means for a successful proposal. And then you have in parallel 2 other process of evaluation. For project asking for blended finance, there is a due diligence process and an equity investment process. And this starts 1 month after evaluation, and it lasts, I would say, 6 months on average. My slide is a bit confusing because due diligence and equity last 6 months. So in total, this doesn't jeopardize the signature of a grant. It is done after the signature of a grant. So the grant can start, the project can start, and then the due diligence and equity investment is done in parallel by the European Commission. So evaluation step 1, as I said, it's a remote evaluation. You submit your proposal, and then your proposal is read by 4 evaluators who do that remotely. And these experts come from the EIC experts database. And then you have 3 evaluation criteria. Each criteria corresponds to 1 chapter of your proposal. Excellence, which deals with the potential to create new market or significantly impact existing ones. Also, you have to prove you are on the right timing in this chapter. Second chapter and criteria is the quality and efficiency of the implementation. So there you have to show your capabilities and motivation to bring the innovation to the market, or how you will organize your company, who will do the job, and so on. And then the third one is the impact. And there you have to prove you have a solid business model and commercialization strategy. And you have also think to a sound financial planning. That means that really to go to the EIC Accelerator, you have to have a very strong business plan already prepared at the international level. Otherwise, that means that you are not ready to go on this funding opportunity. The scoring, then you have an individual scoring going from 0 to 5 per criteria. You have a threshold per criteria. You have to reach 4 out of 5. That means that it is very demanding. And the global threshold is 13 out of 15. But I have to say that this is a rule, the global threshold, but to have a chance to be funded, you have more to reach 14 out of 15, because we will see later, there are a lot of proposals in this EIC Accelerator. So after this individual scoring, you have an overall consensus score, median score, and a ranking, because as I said, there are a very high number of candidacy, in this funding scheme, and there is a ranking because there is not, unfortunately, enough available budget to fund all the good proposals. So there is a ranking going up to twice the budget available. And at this stage, you receive 2 possibilities. Either you receive an evaluation summary report in case you are not ranked, or if you are ranked, you are invited to step 2 evaluation, means interviews. So interviews, in fact, for project ranked from step 1, they are invited to face-to-face interviews in Brussels. All the costs are reimbursed by the EC, travel costs. For the cutoff of May, for the Green Deal 1 and October, they introduced a new gender issue. They want to rank at least and to interview at least 25% of applications submitted by SME led by women CEO or equivalent position. I think this condition and this help to women will last in Horizon Europe. At least it is what we've heard. To perform the interview, you are obliged to have to delegate a company representative. You cannot delegate a third party, like for example a consultant or over a third party. You have to be present and to send a really representative of your company. You are allowed to give at least 3 names on the company. Then you perform the interview. You are interviewed by a jury composed of at least 4 experts. These experts are also coming from the expert database of the European Commission, but they have different profile. They can be technologists, industrialists, or have a business from the business or the finance sector. The pitch deck you supplied in your proposal of electronic submission has to be used for the interview. You cannot update it from the electronic submission up to the interview. It has to be the same document, and you will have it to support your presentation of your project. So you will be interviewed about 30 minutes per proposal. So 10 minutes to pitch on your proposal, and then 30 minutes question and answers between the jury experts and you. And then the project will be marked A or B, and only A marks will be funded. Here you have the representation of the interview. So you see you have different juries, and then once all the proposals have been interviewed, the juries meets in a panel review, where they will also list different proposals to be funded after this interview scheme. For the lucky winners, if you win the EIC Accelerator, then you will have additional support from the European Commission in terms of business acceleration services. That means that the EC will give you support to further develop investment readiness. The EC will link you with private investors, customers, through brokerage activities and events. For example, invitation to trade fairs. The EC will also give you assistance in applying for further European risk finance. You will have also 12 days of free coaching, and you will benefit from mentoring activities. Okay, so this is a very good instrument, very well tailored for the needs of startups, SMEs, which have very good potential to grow and to disrupt technologies with very highly potentially innovation. But as you can see here, it's a very highly competitive instrument. There are a very high number of proposals. So here I have the view of the cutoff of January here. So as you can see, there has been 1,849 proposals answering the call, out of which only 20 were not admissible or ineligible. On this 1,849 proposal, 573 were above the threshold, and out of 573, 126 were invited to step 2, and by the end, from 126 proposals interviewed, only 44 were funded. But the amount of funding is very high. You can see it's a very important sums of money, mainly because of the equity introduction. Okay, so you can see it's very highly competitive, but this has not to, I don't want you to demotivate, because I think a lot of proposals are also on this call, but they are not focused, they are not in line with the scope of the call. So you have to take this into account, but you have to assess if you have good potential or not, and you have to really to do very good and very well-written proposals. Maybe okay, in France you have some support from consultant companies to help you to do good project. I know in Spain also there are good supports, maybe in other countries as well, but you have really to take this into account. Okay, all information can be found here on the portal. This is really the Bible, Funding and Tenders Opportunity Portal. This is a one-stop shop, as they said in Brussels, where you can find all information regarding explanation on the program, call for proposals, document to submit, and also it's on this portal that you will submit your proposal. So you have to look at this portal. I put the link here. It's an hyperlink, so you can directly find information on EIC Accelerator. Then you have also another website, the EASME website. EASME is the executive agency for SME. In fact, it's an executive agency which manage the EIC program on behalf of the European Commission. So there also you can find more explanation on the EIC Accelerator and also on this website. But I have two advice to give you if you are interested by this funding opportunity. Then you have to read the facts. They are very well done, and they will give you a lot of information, especially on the equity part. So you can read this document. It's a very interesting one. And then also you have to look at the EIC Accelerator Data Hub, because they put here, they made a Data Hub to present all the projects funded by the European Commission for SME Instrument and EIC Accelerator. So it's also well done. You can check by keywords, you can check by sectors, you can check by countries to see what projects have been funded under this program, and it's also, I think, good thing to do. Oops, yes, okay. To have support, I've talked at the beginning about NCPs. So NCPs are in every country of Europe. So you have a list here. You will find your NCP in your country. In France, for example, the referent for the EIC Accelerator is SME NCP. But there are SMEs NCPs everywhere in Europe. And they can give you information, guidance on this EIC Accelerator. And then you have another network called the Enterprise Europe Network. It is composed mainly by chambers of commerce, innovation agencies, and also they are well aware about the EIC Accelerator, and they can also provide support. That's all for me from now. I hope I was not too long. If you want, you can contact me by email. If you have any question, I'll be happy to answer. Otherwise, maybe we can have a round of questions. Maybe some questions have been asked. So if you want me to answer, I'm ready to do. Maybe Carla, we can first start with your questions regarding Astropreneur. I've seen that there were some questions at the beginning.
So thank you, Fabienne. So we have already some questions. So the first one, it's both for Astropreneur and EIC. It's about UK startup. will you accept application from UK?
Yes, absolutely. We have a partner in the UK, which is STFC, and we have already many startups from the UK on board. UK is still in the project. It's a project partner, and we can absolutely accept startups from the UK.
And we have also a question about social enterprises. So the question is, social enterprises as business with primarily social objectives, whose surplus are principally reinvest for that purpose in the business of communities. So will you accept social enterprises?
Well, the main thing that we have to check is if there is a space connection. We can accept a business idea from a social enterprise, but it needs to have a space connection, okay?
And a last question for you for now, Carla. Is the Astropreneur program as fund from ESA? The money does from ESA?
No, it doesn't have funding from ESA. Now the project is funded from Horizon 2020. But we are connected with ESA since all of our partners are ESA VIX and ESA brokers. So we all are part of the ESA network. We are well connected with ESA, but the project itself is funded by the European Commission Horizon 2020. I have to clarify it.
Okay, thank you. And about EIC, Fabienne?
Yeah.
Does a startup from UK can apply?
Yes, up to the end of 2020, they can apply. But the restriction on the type of funding, they cannot apply for equity, for example. They can only apply for grant only. If you remember, I've talked about 3 possibilities of funding: grant only, grant with consent, and grant blended finance. So for UK, only open to grant only. And this up to the end of 2020. Afterwards, we do not know about UK eligibility in Eurozone Europe because it will be defined by the end of this year. Several possibilities. I hope UK will stay in our associated countries.
Okay, thank you. Do you have other question? You can ask your question through the chat.
Just to clarify, one of the questions here, in the Astropreneurs, there is no funding for the startups. We have the 50 hours mentoring for free. What we can do is support the startups in finding the right funding and also reviewing applications that they write to funding. Okay, so we support them in finding the right funding and reviewing applications to those funding.
Can we imagine, Carla, that you will help in the proposal for EIC Accelerator, for example?
Yes, absolutely. So we cannot write the proposals completely, but we can support all the process of the Astropreneurs. The process that you have described, it will be a very interactive process, and we can do that for the selected startups that are on board of Astropreneurs. We can support them. That is one of the great objectives that we have, is that support them in making applications to EIC Accelerator. Absolutely.
That's good. I've seen the question from Carlos, right, already?
Yeah. Is there a limitation of the number of projects SME can present to EIC?
Oh, for the moment, there is no limitation. You can present, provided you do one application at a time. For example, if you already applied in one cutoff, You can apply to the other one, to the next one, only if you receive your ESR report, okay, saying you are not retained. In this case, you can apply to the next one, and you cannot do, for example, twice proposal at the time. Only one proposal per SME. For the moment, it's open. You can submit as many proposals as you want. Maybe for Horizon Europe, maybe this will change, but for the moment, it's open. And I must say that it's very this possibility of is very used by SMEs, because it's very rare to win at the first time, unfortunately. It happens anyway, but I think it's not the most frequent case.
Okay, thank you. And we have a question regarding, yeah, go ahead.
COVID, interviews, yeah. For the cutoff of
maybe
March,
I will just ask the question before everyone.
Oh yes, sorry.
Yeah,
yes.
we have a question regarding the COVID-19 crisis, and would you how would you handle a face-to-face interview in Brussels if that's not possible?
Okay, yes, it happened because the cutoff was in March, 24th March. So the interviews they were done in remote, in video conference this time, due to the COVID crisis. Because in the European Commission they are also in home office. Nobody works in the offices, so they did it by video conference, exceptionally. I don't know what it will happen for the next one. So, it depends on how the crisis will go, and maybe some possibilities of face-to-face will be done, but possibly it will be pursued on video conference. I don't know for the moment.
Okay, thank you. And we have a question about the Green Fund opportunity.
Yeah.
Is the Green Fund opportunity going to be 100% funded or partly funded? What's the deadline for the Green Deal application?
Okay, the Green Deal about it is an additional call for EIC Accelerator. The Green Deal cutoff date it's ending on May 19, so in 5 days. Okay, that's why I haven't gone into detail, because the deadline is very close. So if it's new for you, I think it's really too late to prepare a proposal. But the Green Deal, so the cutoff date of EIC, but you have to know also, so to answer on the funding, yes, it will follow the same rules. EIC Accelerator is 70% funded. So for Green Deals, it will be the same, and the same conditions than regular EIC Accelerator. Okay, but you have to know also that there will be a Green Deal call, a different one, not only not focused on the EIC Accelerator, but H2020 call dealing with Green Deal issues. It's now in preparation at the EC. We should know the work program by June, and the call will be launched in September and will close in January next year. But this won't be open to EIC Accelerator. This will be open to collaborative projects.
Okay, so we will find more information about this program on the same website, on the EIC website.
On the funding portal. Yes, it will be published on the funding portal. But I think you should take contact with your country NCP on that, because all countries NCPs are aware of this call. Maybe they can give you some, I would say, previous information to prepare in advance on that. Okay. Otherwise, once it will be, I would say, official and public, it will be published on the funding portal, like is EIC Accelerator. But once again, it's not an EIC Accelerator call. It's a call for a collaborative project, but they want to have also there a very high TRL project, very mature technologies, because the idea is to have really a rapid demonstration of innovation regarding environment, climate, okay, all issues. There is a description, several topics included in this Green Deal call. But I think space actors should be interested by this green call, especially space entities which have technologies dealing with climate regulation, for example, or this type of technologies. I think you should play in this Green Deal. And Green Deal call, it will have a budget of about 1 billion euros. So great possibilities.
Okay, thank you very much. And I don't think we don't have no more question. One more chance. If you have a question, it's the time. Okay, so I think we have not other questions. So thank you very much, Carla. Thank you very much, Fabienne. And thank you to all of you to listening.
Okay.
Okay.
If you have any question, please feel free to contact us, and we will answer back.
Yes, I will. I'm free to answer. Also, I put my email address there. So if you have any question, feel free to contact me.
Yes, contact us, follow us in our social media, and we are very easy to reach and contact. We are at your disposal. Thank you.
And don't forget the last cutoff of Astropreneur program.
Yes, don't forget it.
Okay, thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.